But just thinking that you can take and take and take because you think that you're owed.
Entitled.
Like, that's entitlement. You just think that you're owed it just because what? Just because what? I think that people feel oppressed. Mm-hmm. I don't think they are. I don't think everyone is. I think there's systematic, like, racism. I do believe in we can go on and on about that. I think there's systematic things that happen that contribute to the problems that we're having now. That's for sure, right? But I think the majority of things that can be changed in your own personal life can literally be changed by you. Uber driver.
Oh God, we just had our Lyft driver.
Our Lyft driver. Y'all, we stop at Uber because Uber be doing the most.
Our Lyft driver was African, and he's from Nigeria. And we had such an interesting conversation with this guy, and he was just saying how people don't want to work hard in America, and you guys are so lucky.
Yes.
And I said no. He's just like a lot of women aren't. He said a lot of women act like men
here in America,
and then a lot of men act like women.
Isn't that funny?
And he's like he was talking about the prison because he worked at the prisons.
He was a correctional
officer. He said the prisons here, if these men had to go to an African prison, they'd never want to come back.
I asked him. I said, what's the difference between the prisons in Africa and prisons here in America? He said, he looked back at the car. He looked back at us. He said, what's the difference? Heaven and hell. I said, really?
Like, yeah. He said they get 3 squares a meal a day here in America. He said they get laundry service. Yeah. They can get an education. They can do all. He's just like, and he said in Africa they could care less if you live.
They can give you bed sometimes. He said,
right. Or food.
Yeah.
He said they don't even they don't care. But I do think that he was just like the family values. And the way that men and women are here, we used to not be that way. We used to be very much like that.
Yeah.
But then again, see, this is why we blame feminism, because feminism came and changed everything.
Because he even said, the men in America are soft. We actually had a comment. We just had a comment from a black man recently. It was on the Women Proposing to Men video. I'll put that video above. Yeah. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it above. But he said, his name is Sebastian. He said, what is he? Yeah, he's black. Yeah, he's a black man. Mm-hmm. He said, women want to pay for a man in 2021. I don't agree with it, particularly for the black man. We are soft enough, but this is the trend.
And but that's just true. I think it's sad what's happening to white men too, though.
Yeah.
I think that modern feminism is trying to soften men to even the playing field.
Yeah.
Like, as long as men aren't as tough as they used to be, then they don't feel then they feel like they have an equal playing ground. You know what I mean? I don't think that a nation can survive without strong men.
No, we need to have
I don't think that there has ever in history been a time where a nation has survived without the men in it being strong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Women are strong in a different way. And I think that somehow women don't connect the fact that we are strong. But in a different way, men are strong in another type of way. But the feminization, of men is bothering me. Mm-hmm. And, I don't like it. Yeah. And I see a lot of male celebrities trying to help with the feminization.
Push the agenda.
Feminizing of men. And I feel it's scary a little. Because I think that when you feminize men like that, you break up homes.
Yeah. Because
men are no longer protectors. Well, because they don't have it in them. Like you were saying, we were watching a thing and the guy was standing up. What's his name? Joey Toons. Joey Toons.
Yeah, and he got watch Joey Toons. He's so funny.
And he was just saying, there was this guy, he did this clip of this guy, this kid, he gets up in front, he goes, "Can you guys not yell? It's making me, giving me anxiety." And he was just like, when did we come to this point where men are afraid like that? That is a terrifying.
It's odd.
Yeah.
It's odd what we've done society-wise while we've gone this direction in nuclear speed. Yeah. Like, we are literally going, and we're just doing it more and more and more. It's like the softening of men has become so prevalent that it's almost just like second nature to even accept it. Like, this is why I like to see super strong men. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is why I like to see that, because I feel like we need more of that.
I won't have a child with a man. Or even married.
But don't you feel like it
doesn't have those qualities, those strong qualities?
But don't you feel like it needs to go to two separate? Like, I feel like at this point and how bad it actually is, is that we need to do we need to get to an ultra masculine masculinity with men and ultra femininity with women, like to the extreme. Go back to something real extreme, and then we can just kind of meet in the middle somewhere and eventually get back to just being normal, where it's just normal, because there's way too many soft men and way too many hardened women. And the fact that even like the Uber driver, we had some good conversation about Uber drivers, but our Lyft drivers, but the fact that he noticed it out the gate, he's from Africa. It's actually always interesting hearing from people from other countries, what they see without getting offended. Because I think what happens is a lot of Americans get offended when they hear an outsider, from another country, critique American culture, because it's like, and how we are as men and women here. No,
he said no, in Nigeria men take over the women.
Yeah,
they just do. That's just how he said nothing's changed. Yeah, you're just like, it's not to say that women can't work, because they have education there.
Yeah, they do.
Most women that are in Nigeria,
they're advanced. Yeah,
but even in Brazil, there are a lot of women that are doctors, but for some reason they don't feel the need. They just feel the need to do the profession. They don't feel the need to go and become something that they're not, to try to fill out an ideology. You know what I mean? For me, I don't mind working. I'd rather, if I ever had children, I definitely want to be a housewife, because I want to be in my kid's life 100%. But I don't mind working. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be Oprah. Like all of a sudden I want to try to, be like a guy. You know what I mean? Just because I know how to go to work.
Right.
I don't understand why we're doing that. You know what I mean? It's not helping us at all. And then people keep saying like, oh, how feminism is helping. I'm like, how? Look at our society. How is it really helping? I want to see the benefits of this.
They say it a lot too. They say that there's all kinds of benefits.
And then we're still fighting and stuff. Like, again, we're still fighting.
We're always fighting.
Why are we fighting? We have everything men can have. And plus, I think that men on some level, I think on some level we have way more benefits in this world than men do.
Yeah, we've mentioned this before too, and I think I stand by that. Like I do feel that way, and I know that doesn't
on every level. I mean, men can get the death penalty for the same crime a woman can do, and a woman won't get it. Men are much more likely to commit suicide, and divorced men are much more likely to lose all their money,
and their families,
and their home, and all of that. You know what I mean? So I really do feel like we really kind of need a liberation for men. I think we've just got a bunch of victims. Like Danielle, I think it's tell Danielle this. This is why I don't get into Black Lives Matter and
all that stuff.
What is it? Feminism.
All these groups.
I don't get in all these groups because I feel like they're made to be relevant to help people, but what they end up being is just this feel sorry for me movement. Feel sorry for me because I'm Black. Feel sorry for me because I'm a woman. Feel sorry for me because I'm gay. Feel sorry for me. It's like, no. You don't get to do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? You live in a country where you're able to do what you want to do. We have more rights, and that's why everybody wants to come over to this country. And so, please do not compare yourself to a feminist, women who don't get what they want in America, to women in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, they need some feminism.
And I also feel like they're when you pull out a card too many times. When it doesn't get pulled out yet, I think you water that down and you diminish the actual movement. So I'm talking about homophobia is real, right?
Racism is real.
Racism is real.
Sexism is
real. This is all very real, relevant things. They happen. It's happening. But when you pull that card, every chance you get, you know what I mean? Every chance you get, you pull that card out and say, "Oh no, it's homophobic. This is racism." And it's always something. It's always racism. It's always homophobia. It's like, I think when you pull it out too much, you water it down for the real situations that are going on, that are really going on, and you make it look like it doesn't. Remember the Jussie Smollett situation?
But that's what I'm saying. It creates that situation.
There's real homophobia.
You know what I'm saying? But he lied. He did that. And I don't know why he did that, but he did do that. And I think a lot of women, even when I talk to feminists, they'll always say, we're just, men victimize us and men are oppressing us. And I'm like, I don't feel oppressed. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't feel oppressed, and I don't need, there was like, well, how come you're not a feminist? Because I don't need a group to tell me, to give me strength. Right. I am a strong woman because I am a strong woman. I don't need some group of women to tell me that I'm relevant. You know what I mean?
Also, I always feel like there's a clear distinction between, there should be a clear distinction between actually being oppressed and then feeling oppressed.
Right.
Because if you're being oppressed, slaves, were oppressed.
Right.
Okay, they're okay. But now when you look at things, it's like, but are you being oppressed or are you feeling it?
Right.
Because that would mean that there's something within you that doesn't feel worthy.
Right.
And if you feel worthy in life, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel worthy in life. So I don't feel like I have an oppressor.
Right.
Now, there may be somebody who's trying to oppress me. I wouldn't know because I'm trying to uplift myself and live my life. But I just think people always pull out that too. Oh, yeah, I'm the oppression. The white man's oppressing me, and this is oppressing me. It's like, come on.
Like, I don't need black people to make me feel black. I'm black because I am.
Black,
I was born black. I walk in the world as a black woman
every day.
I don't need like any groups behind me to make me feel validated or anything like that. But I'm one of those people that just believe in taking responsibility for yourself. I think that everyone has opportunity in this world to do something. We live in a country that you really can have opportunity. I mean, the black people are not being treated as bad as we were in the 40s and 50s. You can't say that. You know what I mean? And so those people didn't even make excuses. Especially when you talk to people from the 40s and 50s, they're just like, it just wasn't. I mean, like, look, there are racial divides. There always will be. I think that's always going to happen. We're in a country where there's so many different cultures and races, and it's going to happen. But I do think that there's a certain level of media pushing. Oh yeah, that media push to make it look like it's more than what it actually is. And I do believe, again, that there is, like, for instance, we talk about racism and homophobia and sexism. Those all exist in real time right now. But I think that there's a media push agenda out there that's bringing it forward. Which is why I left the Democratic Party, because I don't like what the Democrats have done. I think that they want us to remember. I think they want to keep us remembering slavery, not because they want us to be like the Nazis. How Jews, they always remember the Holocaust because it keeps them strong. Black people in general will never forget slavery because it was part of our people. You know what I mean? It was an experience our people had in this country. But I do think that there's a perpetuation of always talking about the past to keep us victimized so that we'll vote for them because they're the party that likes black people. I don't agree with that. I don't think that. I think that they have an agenda, and I think their agenda is because they own the Democratic Party, or the liberals have most of the media outlets. Most of them. I think the conservatives don't. You know what I mean? So everything is in an agenda to push. Feel sorry for me, gay movements. Feel sorry for me, black movements. Feel sorry for me, women's liberation movements. But I know so many people in all of those categories that take advantage more than they are. I personally know some. I know a lot of them. Wow. You know what I mean? And gay, black, and women, and they mostly are just lazy and don't take responsibility, and they blame everybody for everything and take no responsibility for any part of their life. And then you're going to blame that on America. I'm not going to do that. Yeah. America doesn't have a stranglehold on me like that. No, when I messed things up in my life, there was like almost an immediate taking of responsibility. Because it's kind of like, well, okay, so I can sit here and blame the world for my troubles and my problem, or I can just say, what did you do to contribute to your own mess ups? Because this whole world is about contributing to the world. Like us having this conversation in front of this camera is contributing to a conversation. Whether 8 people watch or 800 people watch, it's a contribution to a conversation that needs to be had that can help other people. So your life is to contribute to the world. It's not to just take. And I think that that's what this world is becoming, more of a take and not a give. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we think just marching down the streets and then complaining about things all the time. And most people who are marching are not doing. Yeah, they're just really, a lot of them are just complaining. Well, there's people, don't you think there's people who go through the motions? Like, I feel like there's people who go through the motions of the signs, the picket signs. They have chants and all, everybody got the T-shirts and, slogans and hashtags, right? So everything is that, and not against it. I'm just saying that there's that, and then there's actual action to be taken. And I don't know that that's, I'm not sure what we're fighting. I mean, I know black people that I've known that have been on the system. They've been on, welfare, and it's generational. They've been on it their whole life. Their mother was on it. Their grandmother was on it, and they always want to say, "Oh, it's the white man keeping me down." It's like, no, you. Since you know that, then you also know that you can do something with your life. Right. You are choosing to be the victim here. You know what I mean? I've never been on welfare, and I've not been rich. I've just chosen to work hard. You know what I mean? And as long as I have health then I'm able to get out there and deal with my problems and deal with myself. You know what I mean? But this whole victimized, attitude that I see a lot of people have, is starting to get redundant and a little annoying to me.
Well, also, it's a little bit of entitlement too. We always talk about white entitlement, because I think there's white privilege out there. That's a real thing, right? There's white privilege out there. We know this, okay? But there's a sense of like a black entitlement. Or they call it like poor entitlement.
Yeah.
Where poor people, a lot of people who don't have money or are disenfranchised feel like, well, I was never given a chance, so I can just take and take and take, and then that doesn't.
Yeah, but see, that's the victim mentality.
That is very victim mentality.
That's sort of, I wasn't given a chance. Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah.
What slaves wouldn't do with the rights black people have today.
Right. And that's what I always think about, like whenever, because Karen and I think just naturally we're pick ourselves up by our own bootstraps type thing. Not that you don't need help from others, because there is a point in time where you do need help from others, but there is a sense of pride that you should have within yourself to be able to help yourself and not not continue a generational curse.
Right.
That's happens. I think it's time to break curses.
That's what I'm saying. Like I know a lot more people around, that have been around that are more victimized with that victimized mentality than there are with people who go, hey, you know what, I was born on welfare, so I'm going to go out there. There are definitely people who were born on welfare and got out and went to college, or didn't even go to college. They just worked really hard. And
I get the point of welfare.
I get that. There are single parents who were raised with single parents. Sorry. There are people who've been raised with single parents that then end up getting married and having children because they knew what their parent went through.
Like, if you are able to uplift yourself and get yourself out of something, then I think that that's kind of like them patting you on the back, going, yeah, okay, right. I told you, you can do this. Like, you can do this. But just thinking that you can take and take and take because you think that you're owed.
Entitled.
Like, that's entitlement. You just think that you're owed it just because what? Just because what? I think that people feel oppressed. I don't think they are. I don't think everyone is. I think there's systematic racism. I do believe in we can go on and on about that. I have a lot to say on that, but I do think there's systematic racism. I think there's systematic things that happen that contribute to the problems that we're having now. That's for sure, right? But I think the majority of things that can be changed in your own personal life can literally be changed by you. There are things that you can control and the things that you cannot control. And I feel like the things you can control, give it a go. Don't always feel like someone has to just owe it to you and you don't have to work to do anything. We're in a situation where there are people who just do not want to work. You know what I mean? Like we were talking this the other day. The amount of lazy people. Remember you were watching that show and that guy was saying that, the workers, Matt was saying that.
Oh yeah, Matt Walsh. He was saying that because he has a show that he has a part of his show where it's called Reading the Comments, and so he had actually said on his show, I want to talk about the people who own businesses that can't get good help at work, and so he just mentioned it, and then the next day he got a flood of people who own businesses that's saying that they can't get good help anymore, and no matter how much they give them, because the Democrats are always trying to fight for 15. At some point, I was for that, fight for 15, but he made a good point. These people are paying $15, $16 an hour, and these people don't want to show up to work. So it's not the minimum wage that's really
it's the mentality.
It's the mentality that people have. If someone's going to pay you $15 or $16 to come and do a job, and then you don't show up on time, and you ask for absurd benefits,
all these demands,
you know what I mean?
And you're lazy when you get here.
You're lazy.
No.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of laziness happen and blame gaming.
Yeah.
Everybody a lot of people, it's so easy to blame everybody for everything. It's a lot harder to take, into account how you show up in your life. If you have a child out of wedlock, don't go have another one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? One thing to say I'm a single mother, another thing to say I'm a single mother, and now I have another one coming. Why? You knew how hard the first one was. So what was wrong with keeping your legs closed?
So that's a mentality problem. That's a self-esteem issue.
Right.
That's
not a government problem.
Right. That has nothing to do with the government. It has something to do with you having at a certain age. Like we all know, if you're brought up wrong and you're brought up with the wrong mentality, then that's something you have to overcome. But when you get to be an adult, it has now become your responsibility, no matter what situation you're in. It has now become your responsibility to fix yourself. You have to get out of that state of mind. I think that people are in this really warped, oppressed state of mind. I think majority of people, I hear people's stories, I feel like the majority of people, when I hear them talk, it's like they're talking about how they're feeling oppressed, but they're saying they are being oppressed by the government and society. I'm like, and I always say, it sounds more to me like you just feel oppressed because you can I am not a rich woman, right? But I believe in hard work and working smart and all that. I do believe in that. I think that if you fill an application for a job, you should do the damn job.
And you should go. You should go to work.
Yeah. So I don't feel like I can just show up at the job and do nothing.
I work 6 days a week, and on the 7th day we do the show. Right. So I'm like constantly on the job. You know what I mean? Even with this show, we don't even get paid for it. The show. So my day that I'm off, I actually am still working. You know what I mean? And so, but my point in saying this is not to get kudos. It's to tell you that this is part of the hard times, or the part that's challenging, or everything is not going to be served to you. Everything shouldn't be served to you. I don't want the government in my life all the time. Sorry, I don't need your welfare. I don't want to. Now, those things should be available, but limited. Yeah. I don't think that someone needs to be having generational welfare lives. I don't think that women or men should be just making children because they have the urge to have sex. You know what I mean? In a world of birth control and everything, I don't know why we're still having all these unwanted children and things like that. But I do think that until you can look at your life as your own and how you contribute to it, you don't need to be telling other people how to live their life if you haven't cleaned up your own home. Yeah. And that's just how I feel. I feel sorry for no one. I have empathy for people, but I don't like feel sorry for you mentality. I think that when you give people, that sort of feel sorry for you, people stay there. They get comfortable because a lot of people are very comfortable in their victimization, being victimized. They like it because it means they never have to grow. They never have to move. They never have to do anything. They can always stay in this is what happened to me. So I'm allowed to be an asshole. So I feel like that's I call it like weak energy. So when you feel sorry for someone, are you giving that feel sorry for you energy? I think that that's an energy that you're giving them, that this is weak energy. You're weakening that person. You should be sympathetic or even empathetic to the person. But I think that feeling sorry is not the way to go because they're going to continue the behavior of, I knew it. I'm owed it. See, the world owes me everything. The world really owes you like nothing. But this is why I don't like men walking around calling themselves feminists, because I don't like being with men who aren't strong, because I don't plan on having children or even adopting a child. Having a child with a man who isn't strong. I think that strong people come from strong parents. You know what I mean? And if you have weak men in your life, then that's going to weaken you. The same thing as men. Right. If you have a weak woman that only wants to be, a burden and only wants you to feel sorry for her all the time, or is not being productive ever, doesn't know how to cook, doesn't know how to clean, doesn't know how to make money, doesn't know how to do anything. You know what I mean? Just lay on her back and have sex with you. That's a weak woman. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I feel like there's too many people just complaining, and there's nobody actually doing it. We were just saying the other day, I was telling Danielle, I was like, I hate when I'm at businesses where I've ever worked somewhere and everybody's taking and no one's giving. The reason why the business fails is because everybody's taking and no one's putting in. You know what I mean? And that's in every situation in your life. If everybody's just taking and taking, no one's actually putting in, then you have, it'll collapse. And so, I don't like being a victim. I was raped, but I don't think that men being weak is going to be good for me. You're right. You know what I mean? That was a weak man. That's how I look at it. Right. I don't look at it that way. So I feel like I don't like this victimized behavior. It just this. I think when you get out of that, we often talk about Black people because we're Black, but just in general, the feeling of just watching Black people feel like they are just being oppressed and taken for a ride, and everything is, everybody's trying to get you. Everybody's out to get you. I'm just thinking that's just like a low vibrating mentality to think that everyone and everything is all working against you. I always feel like I always try to change the way I think, and I feel like I look at it differently. Like we go, oh my God, I gotta pay another bill. I always I get to pay. I get to pay a bill. Thank God I get to pay a bill. I get to go to work. I get to do that. I have a check coming, so I get to go to work. I get to, But people don't do that. Sleep in a bed. Right. I get to take a shower. See, this the way you phrase things that always makes a difference. You know what I mean? Oh, you need to be happy. about the things you have, because the instant the smallest things leaves you,
game over.
It is missed. Yeah. It is really missed. You know what I mean? And I think that it, like, you know, I guess I just feel like I saw a lady the other day just slap her child because it looked like he had the hiccups, but she was mad at him because he wouldn't stop, and she had another baby on her hip, and then she slaps him in the back of the head and yells at him and calls him a name. And I thought to myself, if that little boy died tomorrow, would you hate that this?
It would.
You need to be happy that you have children. I would love to be a mother right now. Again, you know what I mean? I think you gotta always be happy with what you have, and be appreciative and grateful.
That's why
whatever it is, right?
We don't have like a whole lot, but it is a lot to me.
Honestly, people don't. That's important. Honestly, people don't need a whole lot. You need. We have too much access.
You need a lot less than you think.
You do. Most people, if they had less, they probably would be more happy, because you'd have to depend on your own happiness more to do more. But now we're so privileged, and we don't.
Well, we want more. Everybody wants more. I'm a minimalist, so I like as less as possible. Whenever I get a chance, like every 3 months, I start purging things I have not used.
Right.
That's where I'm at in life. Like I start I don't care how empty the room's looking or where, I just start purging things. You know, so I think that we stack on things that we don't need, and I think there's something mentally wrong with that. You know what I mean? I think there's something.
You find pleasures in things
too much
when you stop always trying to buy your happiness. You know, you find, like, I find pleasure in cooking, and I find pleasure in just decorating and things like that. I like stuff like that because I think it helps you creatively. Yeah, and I think that's where most happiness is in your creativity. You know what I mean? But I don't think you can buy happiness. That's my point. Like, I don't think that there's anything you can really buy that's going to fulfill you in the happiness in the long run. I think everything can be replaced. Yeah, those things are fun to have. No doubt. Right. Those things are fun to have, but no one goes to their deathbed saying, "Oh, I wish I, oh my God, I wish I would have had that, that whatever car's popular now, or I wish I never had that mansion." No, it's the experiences that you have in life and the happiness and joy that you put into yourself. So to me, I think that it's so much. I think there's so much consuming that people have today that we think we're gonna get it. Get the happiness. The next big thing. Yeah, the next thing is going to be the thing that's going to make me happy. If I just get a boyfriend, I'm going to be happy. No, you're not. Yeah. If I just buy this, I'm going to be happy. No, if I just lose 10 pounds, I'm going to be happy. No, you are still you. I read a quote. I feel like it was Denzel Washington. Beware of the destination addiction. The idea that happiness is in the next place, the next job, or even with the next partner. Until you give up the idea that happiness is somewhere else, it will never be where you are. Right. And that is 100% true. We're always trying to find it outside. And then when we don't find it outside, then we start getting depressed. Because you don't know. You're like, oh, well, I thought that job was going to make me happy. I thought that man was going to make me happy. I thought those kids, that was going to be it. That marriage, that wedding, I thought that was going to be it. They say, like, usually our mountaintops aren't as great as we thought. It's like when Joel Osteen was talking about Deion Sanders. And Deion Sanders, he'd been playing football since he was in high school and college, and then he went on to the NFL. And then when his big thing was he wanted to go to the Super Bowl. He really wanted to get it. He finally got it. And then he told Joel Osteen, he said, it wasn't all I thought. You know what I mean? He said, all that time, I had more fun in the journey than I actually did in the actual thing. And I think that's true in almost everything we do. I think we think just getting to those mountaintops is going to make us happy. But really it isn't. It's the journey that really makes you happy. Actually, I think the harder times is what makes the best times sweeter. Yeah. Because if you don't have any sort of challenge in life, then getting to a destination, it means nothing to you. It's the obstacles that really, the getting past those obstacles is really where the sweetness of life is. Right. It's not just getting things handed to you. And I know that. That's the reason why I don't really like to be, I like help, but I don't like for people to coddle me like that. I kind of like the lesson. I kind of like to learn the lesson. Right. It's not because I'm trying to like be hard on myself. It's because I know that I can do it. And I feel like it's just that when you go through rough times and then you're able to get through it, it was that that made you feel like, oh, okay, that was something. I did something. As opposed to just the destination of it all. You shouldn't be. I think that people has got to stop feeling so victimized about things and really take a step back and be grateful of everything that you had. I mean, Kara and I went through a little bit of a rough time this past month, as you guys know. We go into huge detail, but but the truth of the matter is, in the grand scheme of things,
Like I said, that video, it was a minor setback because in the grand scheme of things, we've been broke and homeless.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's not. I don't feel sorry for myself. I'm grateful for everything I have.
Right. You know,
I don't blame others for my mess ups.
No.
And or anything that I've done that's bad decisions. Mm-hmm. I blame no one but myself, and then I move on from it. I even get over that. You gotta move on. You have to move on. I don't think people have this move on spirit. You gotta move on. Okay, something happened and you move on. You don't just sulk in that and just blame the world for it.
Yeah, I think why are people are attached to their story. And the thing is I don't mind listening to your story, but I don't want to hear about it all the time because you need to write a new one.
We get so attached to our story of sadness and despair, tragedy. We get so attached to those stories that we forget to write a new one.
But I told you guys about the fact that I was raised with a family with no limits. So we ate a lot, we drank a lot, we smoked a lot. But now that is part of my raising. Yeah. I was raised with that. But it's not an excuse for me. So my mother was a single mother. It doesn't mean I'm going to be.
Right.
But not because my mother did anything, wrong or anything. It's just a hurdle because single mothers breed single mothers. You know what I mean? So it's just like men who go to jail. If your father went to jail, you're probably going to. You know what I mean? It's because it's something that you've just seen your whole life. People who are around family members that are criminals usually become criminals too because it's accepted. People who are overweight have overweight kids. It doesn't mean that you can't get past it. It doesn't mean you stay a victim and then blame it on your family. It just means that it's just a hurdle that you're going to have to deal with.
It's going to be a challenge because you're going to have to break a cycle.
Right.
So that's the thing is that when you are the cycle breaker, I know anybody out there knows what I'm talking about. If you are a cycle breaker in your life, family, I don't care what it is, in your environment, and you're the person that was chosen, whew, Lord. It is a long road. It is a long road of just excitement, disappointment, happiness, and despair. It's like this all these different emotions, like a roller coaster. But the truth is that you are the chosen one to break the generational curses, and that's what makes you. That's what builds character in you. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what builds character in you, and people have to start looking at life so differently.
And you got to look around. You got to look around the people you're around. You know what I mean? It's, sometimes for me, I know a lot of people. Especially if you're extroverted, you like to be around lots of people. But for me, I don't. I like to keep my circle very small. And the reason for that is because I just think that the less people you have, sometimes the less drama comes with it. My sister is positive in my life, so I keep her around a lot. My husband will have to be positive. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to have victimized baby kids. You're at some point you're going to have to be strong.
I don't like negative talk all the time. I don't like people who think that. I don't like people who feel like everything is a problem. Everything is an obstacle. Everything is happening with you.
There's people who are mediocre. Have you seen people who just really never
and bask in the mediocrity?
They just love being mediocre. They don't like to try anything new, or they just look at life as like you were cursed to be this. Yeah. And this is just who you are. They don't think they can go beyond any limits. And so the thing is like, I don't even like to be around that. You know what I mean? I like people who are always kind of forward thinking or give me something. This is why I don't like being the smartest person in the room. I like to learn from other people. There's a personal, way I think about life. And I do think that you are responsible for ultimately how your life turns out. And there's some part of you that has to take responsibility for how you show up. And so I think that if you show up mediocre or show up like a victim, then that's the world that you're going to live in. And I think if you show up strong and persevere, then I think that you're going to have a really great life. It's a mentality. It's like we still see ourselves as not.
That's what I'm saying. It's a feeling of oppression. It's not actual oppression. Yeah. Because people who have actually been oppressed can explain to you what oppression is. What it is. And what I'm seeing with a lot of people, maybe not all, but most, it is not oppression. It's a feeling of lack that you have in your life, period.
If you personally don't feel empowered,
then forget it.
And you're not purposely looking at things that empower you or being around people who empower you, people who know more than you, then you will always be the person that has your hands open for something. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? Instead of giving. If we all give, we could all get.
I agree.
Yeah, that girl's comment got 2 videos.
Yeah, your comment.
You were too video worthy.
Your comment turned into a whole nother video.
Yeah.
Her comment literally turned into a whole nother video. That happens sometimes. It's not the continuation of conversations. Because Kara and I, we just start going. Whatever. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our content, which I think that you do and you should. And that's it. Everybody have a really good day. Bye, guys.